Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden. It's been a while, but today we are going to continue our work on the YouTube Subtitle search app. And thank you, Ashley B. Thank you for that resub. So we started this a few months back. Essentially, we want to be able to search across every video I've ever done and be able to ask it questions and link to specific videos or live streams where I talked about certain things. So it's been a multi-step process. At this point, we have downloaded the transcripts for every live stream that I have ever done. And now we need to figure out a way to search across this data, and then we'll use AI so we can answer plain text human questions about, well, things like what does CJ think about React? Or what's a time where CJ used Deno in a video? And it should be able to respond and help us out. So the plan for today is to create some vector embeddings, which are a way of making lots and lots of documents easily searchable. Yeah, I'm going to have to recap myself because I haven't touched this code in like 2 or 3 months. But the plan today is to take all of those transcripts of the 700 or so videos that we have, and then we're going to use a library, a tool called LangChain that has a bunch of nice things built in that'll help us chunk up all of those documents, create vector embeddings, and then store them in a vector database. Because once we have that, later we can do RAG, or retrieval augmented generation, where someone types in a question. Oh, thank you, SpeedStrat. Thanks for being here. But someone types in a question. We can then take that question and search our vector database to find times where I was talking about things that are similar to the question that was asked. That will give us subsections of transcripts from live streams, and then we can use that as context to feed that into some other AI to say, okay, given these 5 video excerpts, how would you answer this question that the user just gave? That's the end goal. Today is all about creating these vector embeddings. And I've never done this before, so we're going to figure it out together. But thanks everyone for being here. Thank you for all the resubs. Eddie, thank you for the 47-month resub. That's huge. Ashley with the 30 months, and SpeedStrat with the 34 months. But yeah, we'll start with a recap of what we've written so far. Let's do that. So all of this code is on GitHub, github.com/codinggarden/yt-caption-downloader. What's up, Oscar? Good to see you. All the code is here. And first up, I haven't looked at this code in a few months, so let's remind ourselves what we did. Okay, we were using Deno key value. This is good. To store the information about YouTube videos that we got from the YouTube API. Yeah, thank you for the link, Murdoch. So step 1 was to call the YouTube API to get every live stream or every video that I've ever done and all of the metadata about that. So like the URL, the title, the description. And so the code that we have here, when we run it, it will find any videos that we haven't seen before, go off, download their transcript, and then store it locally. So we're in our key value store, we're holding on to the last video that we found last time this script was run. And the idea is we could run this once a month or once a week, and it'll find all of the latest videos and then go download their transcripts. So we wrote a function, list latest channel videos. This calls the YouTube API right here. And given some channel ID, it's then going to get the last 50 videos for a given YouTube channel via the YouTube API here. And it's paginated, so we can only get 50 at a time. So the first time this ran, we got like every single page, but now all of that metadata that we got from the API is stored in our key value store, unless it's expired. Let's see. Because I don't think we put an expiration date on it. Because this will get us our latest videos. Yeah, we don't have any expirations on our key value. So ideally, and we'll test this out. I'll run the script and it should be able to find the latest videos. And there's like only one video since then, which is the advent of code. And I saw you, Fob. Hello. I'm doing good, Fob. Thanks for being here. So yeah, we grab the existing videos from our key value store. We then figure out what are the latest ones. Then once we figure out what are the latest ones that we haven't downloaded yet, for each of those, we create a directory for the video. And so where we left off last time is this script was ready, but I needed to go off and download all of the transcripts. So I just left this running in the background. And now we have this folder here called data. And there's a folder for every video. So each video, it has the YouTube ID here. And then inside of that, we have the original captions XML file that we downloaded from YouTube. And then we also have the SRT file, which we converted it into. And so you can see I start off every stream with, hello, friends, welcome to Coding Garden. And so this is a stream where we did coding improv. Cool. Yeah, and so this is the transcript for that video, but every video ever is in this folder locally on my machine in a captions file. I'm reading through this ancient code and understanding it like it's yesterday. Well, that's the benefit of using good variable names. And, it's pretty straightforward code. Yeah, so if for some reason you delete or unlist a video, will it still be in the store? Yeah, it absolutely will. We would have to do all sorts of stuff to make sure that it's not included. But yeah, you're completely right. And that actually is one thing that I want to do today before we start creating vector embeddings is put the metadata for the video in this folder as well. Because when we store the vector embeddings, we probably also want to store the title of the video and maybe the description of the video. So that we have the relevant details and the URL to the video so we can give somebody the link to it. I guess we technically have the video ID, so that would give us the URL. But for every one of these folders, I do want to put a little JSON file in there that has the metadata. And then when we create the vector embeddings, we're going to create the vectors for the captions, but the metadata will be title, URL, description, maybe view count, that kind of thing. The XML is just the original format that we got from YouTube. So you can see and I have some code here to check to see, do the captions already exist for this given video? If they don't, we're going to try to go get them. And we basically do a little bit of scraping. So we go to the actual video URL, and then inside of the HTML, the link to the captions are stored in there. And the link to those captions is an XML file. And that's what that is. We saved the original because we then wrote our own code to convert it into SRT. Just with the looping over the XML and that has each of the captions in there. So we have the original just in case we messed anything up when we were creating the SRT. But this SRT file is probably going to be a lot better for creating the embeddings versus this chunky XML data here. Because the SRT is as close as possible to plain text, but it includes the timestamps of the video. And what's up, Sweatix? Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you, Jesse. It has been a long time since I've been live. I want to go live more. I was thinking of maybe doing early mornings because I usually have those free. But yes, I need to stream more. But yeah, so this grabs the XML from YouTube, writes it to the file system in that folder. And that's all the code we've written so far. It took us 2 streams to get here. So yeah, it looks good. And to see if it still works, let's run our task, and it should find the advent of code video, and maybe this video, but this video doesn't have transcripts yet because it's live. But hey, Andre, nice to see you too. What technologies am I working with in the syntax code base? So the syntax website is open source, and it is a SvelteKit application. Yeah. Isn't this a good time for streams? It is, but I'm not always free it's Saturday for me. I'm not always free on Saturdays. But yeah, if you head to the syntax GitHub, there's a repo called website, and that's syntax.fm, and it is a SvelteKit application. And I believe Scott was using AI and it deleted our README. I thought he put it back, but it might have deleted it again. Yeah, that was a really fun video, Murdoch. Yeah, and if you haven't seen what we've been putting out on the Syntax channel, definitely check it out. youtube.com/@syntaxfm. The most recent CSS battle I actually edited. It was super fun to edit and super fun to do, but it's all three of us doing a CSS battle, and then I edited it together so it's jumping between us so you can see we had a 10-minute time limit to see who could recreate an image in the least number of characters. Yeah. And you're welcome, Bill. Thanks for being here. Who said, thanks for the inspiration. I realize you're seeing the live chat here. Fob says earlier, at work we're switching to dev servers. Every dev gets their own VPS where they can work on project by connecting via VS Code or JetBrains. What do you think about an external dev server? I like it. I like it because it allows you to have a consistent development environment and you can connect to it from anywhere. So companies can spend the money on VPSs and they don't necessarily have to spend the money on like beefy development machines. That's the other thing is if you can get a larger one provisioned, then you can have more memory. It'll be faster. You can work from anywhere. I think it's pretty cool. I like the idea. Have you ever used Danfo.js? Is it Jesse is asking? I have never heard of Danfo.js. High performance, intuitive, and easy to use data structures for manipulating and processing structured data. No, never used it. Yeah, so before Syntax, I worked a lot with Vue and Svelte. And I like it. I like Svelte a lot. Svelte it's similar to Vue in that you don't have immutable data. I really like single file components. Svelte's really easy to pick up if you've done Vue before. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Andre. Appreciate that. It is currently 5:49 p.m., so it's the evening. It's the evening for me. Okay. Now let's run the code. So when we run this Deno run, it should call the YouTube API, see that there are 1 or 2 new videos, and then attempt to download the transcripts for them. So I'm going to do Deno task start and hope for the best. Oh, 3 new videos. Okay, great. And then, is that today's video? Yeah, so this G1 LC, this is today's video, so it makes sense that there's no caption for today's video because it's live right now. The captions won't be generated until the live stream is over. It does include live streams, but yeah, you can see it's grabbing those 2. No, I never submitted for the Advent of Code stickers. I should have, but I didn't find the time. They have a new thing going where if you create a linter rule, they will give you some stickers as well. Yeah, publish a lint rule, get a prize. I thought about doing this because I don't know of a file name lint rule for Deno. Somebody might have created one by now. But they have this new pluggable linter system, and they mention they'll give you stickers if you publish a lint rule. Trapdoor is asking, how can I become so good at code like you? Practice, 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 practice. I have been coding for a very long time, and I've made a lot of mistakes, and I learned from those mistakes, and that's how I got to where I am today. Just lots and lots of reps. Yeah, I think that's basically it. I mean, I think the advice there is to learn from your mistakes because otherwise I'd still be as bad a coder as I was 10 years ago. But yeah, just lots and lots of practice. And curiosity. I'm always curious how things work. I want to dig deeper into them. A lot of times I'm not okay with like surface level knowledge, and so that's why I know a lot of things, just because I'm very curious. Jesse is asking, at some point, will I be updating my gear page? I need to. I just haven't found the time. I think the main things that have changed are my cameras, because since I started at Syntax, I got real mirrorless cameras. Before I was just using webcams, which looked pretty good. But yeah, I'll post what cameras I'm using, definitely. Have I learned Haskell? I'm learning it this semester in university, and I feel my brain both expanding and exploding. I've tried it before, and it is very, very different than most programming languages that you're used to. It's a functional programming language. So first of all, you have to learn functional concepts like immutability and things like monads and functors and all this functional programming stuff. And then on top of that, the syntax is pretty crazy. Did I do Haskell on stream before? I don't remember that. Maybe I did, but I also had a very hard time wrapping my mind around it. It's very tricky. Yeah. Cool. Why is our script paused? Why is it just sitting there? Oh, you know what? I think it's going through all of the videos and making sure that we have a transcript for them. I think that's what this is doing. So I'm going to go ahead and kill it. Yeah. But it did its job. But we can check and see, like, this one. We'll see what stream is this. KDK 8 and see what transcript it got. Okay. It did not get a transcript. Is it in alphabetical order? Lowercase k, lowercase d. There it is. Oh yeah, this is the last stream where I was working on this. In this Friday stream, we're going to keep working on the Deno version 2. So if you missed it last Friday, we started a project with Deno. And if you missed the news about Deno, version 2 was released a few weeks ago. Yeah. I want to give my script a YouTube channel ID or multiple YouTube channel IDs so we can go out and get the video ID of every single YouTube video for that given channel. Yes, so it downloaded the transcript for that video. Great. Now, I think I want to store the metadata about each video. I want to have the title of the video in this folder as well. So let's write the code to do that. One thing I'll do is right now this is Deno task start. We should rename this to something like get latest. Get latest, because that's what that script does, is it gets latest. And instead of it being main, we're going to call this get latest. And then we'll write a new main for getting the metadata. Okay. So yeah, step one, we're going to get metadata for all of these videos and store it as a JSON file in this folder. So let us do that. I'm going to just copy this one and call it get metadata. Take a quick stretch. Get meta. I already named it though. So I'm not going to rename it. All right. We are going to use key value, and I guess, are we only storing the video IDs in key value? What is our item type? Oh no, we're storing the whole thing. Beautiful. We don't even have to hit the YouTube API, I believe. Yeah, thank you, Devin Bites. Thanks for dropping in. All videos key. Yeah, I mentioned I would call it main. I should call it get metadata. You're completely right. Okay. This gives us the video. We don't want the latest videos. We can literally just reach into key value to grab the existing videos. And then I'm going to just store them as JSON files. I plan on doing viewer Nuxt videos. I'm actually working on a video for the syntax channel where I'm going to use Nuxt to build something. But for the Coding Garden channel, it'll pretty much just be live streams. Okay, we're going to grab all of the videos out of our key value store. And then for each of them, we're going to write a JSON file to its given folder. Okay. Stony, thank you for the 42 months. Appreciate that. What's up? And Mitzik, good to see you. Doing Nuxt with the Laravel backend. Fascinating. Okay. We don't need this. Metadata updated. Oh. Videos.value is possibly null. Okay, so we'll say if not videos.value, continue. Cool. Thanks. I think exclamation mark keyboard. I did do Haskell. I don't even remember doing Haskell on stream. Yeah, they're using XML for, at least in one area of YouTube, they're storing the captions in that way. Oh, look at that. I'm wearing, oh, okay, I thought I was wearing the same hat. Oh yeah, I forgot. We had a wheel spin for like a bunch of languages and then Haskell popped up. Did I solve it? Wow. Fascinating. So yeah, I've done Haskell on stream apparently. Okay, we don't need this. And let's say, let's call this metadata.json will be the file name. I think I literally just want to write it to a file right here. I'll explain. I realize I'm just like removing code and I'll explain it in a second. So we already have every single video in the key value store. So we're literally just going to pull them all out and then write a JSON file locally. I guess technically when we're creating the embeddings, we could just pull it from KV, but I want it to be in the file on the file system so we can easily read it. Yeah, that's fine, because then I can just iterate over the directories instead of reading from key value. Okay, so we are going to write to the metadata path this video, but we're going to stringify it. So json.stringify video. And we'll give it some spacing. No, we won't. We'll save space. And then we'll add a little log that says what we're doing. That should be it. Because basically what I want to be able to do is that the next bit of code we write is just going to traverse through this directory. And then for each folder, it's going to read in the metadata file, read in the captions, create the embeddings for the captions, store the embeddings with the metadata in our database. That's the plan. Okay, so I'm going to run this script, and it's going to create those JSON files. Yeah, definitely first try. And thank you, Mayhafum? Thanks for the prime. Yeah, we need key value. We need to write to the system. We need environment variables. We don't need network access unless we need that for KV. And that's going to run get metadata. I think what we could do in the future, let's just add a to-do here, because in the future, we could actually call the YouTube API, and that could update things like, is the video unlisted, and that kind of thing. To do, call the YouTube API for latest data. Okay. Moment of truth. First try. Why are there only 149? Oh, because it's two different channels. Okay, so because I have the Coding Garden archive and the Coding Garden YouTube, this channel that you're watching right now. So there are 415 videos on this channel, and Dev Henrique, thank you for the resub. And there are 149 videos on the archive channel. Yeah, it was super fast because all of that already lived in key value. I didn't even have to hit an API, but let's check it out. So in here, we have our metadata.json. And let's use prettier. Oh no, we're gonna have to hit the API. I thought we had more metadata than this because I want title, description. Yeah, we're gonna have to hit the API. Oh well, that should be easy enough. To do, call it, we're gonna do that right now. Okay, we do have a function already that will give us all of the channel videos. And then we'll write those. Okay. Should we store this in key value too? Like once we get it from the API? No, because we would want to call the API every time to always get the latest stuff. Okay, so yeah, we're not even going to use key value for this. So let's just call this the result. This will be latest channel videos with the channel ID, which comes from our env. Get a list of videos based on a list of IDs. We already have the code to get this specific channel's one, so that should be fine. Oh, do we have the channel ID? We do have the channel ID. Okay, it's literally right there. All right. Last video ID is null because I want all of them. Here's the thing, our function's returning an item, and I think the item is the thing that's missing all of that metadata. We might update the function. Let's go see what this function does. Yeah, we get the YouTube search response. It's a result. It has items. I think we need to include like the snippet. I believe there are like parts we can ask it for. Let's look at the YouTube API docs because right now we're just getting the video ID. Let's look at the YouTube data API. search for content. Yeah, list. Part. We need to include part and snippet, I believe. And I think we'll just take in another option here. Like include snippet. And this defaults to false. But we have so many arguments here, I'm going to turn this into options instead. And then we'll have to update where we call it. But here's the idea. Then we can destructure this stuff. And then include snippet and default that to false. Okay, so now when we call the function, we're going to pass in an object instead. And include snippet will be true. And the last video ID will be null. What else am I missing? Results is also optional. Good call. Last video ID, we will default to null. And results in our type can be optional. Cool. And then we can say if include snippet params dot append. Oh, what just happened? Append part snippet. Great. Wonderful. Yeah, optional meaning we won't have to pass it in, and then honestly, I don't need the null because both of them are like non-values, but this should be fine. Okay. Just gonna comment all of this out for now. Log the result. And then while we're thinking about it, we will fix. Well, why is this complaining? And then this needs to pass in an object. Is that what it is? Yes. Why is this complaining? Include snippet. Channel ID, last video ID, next page token, results, include snippet. Include snippet was optional, I thought. Now it's optional. Great. And then we'll update this to call it in the right way. Cool. But I want to make sure that this works. So, let's include a last video ID. There's a really good conference talk. It's several years old at this point. But it is, it's about the event loop. It's probably the top result when you search on YouTube. That's definitely one of the best ways to learn about it. This is a newer one. Yeah. So this is from Lydia Halley. She has really good visualizations in her videos. Definitely check that one out. But this one from 10 years ago, I thought it was 5 years ago. Man, I've been doing this too long. But yeah, this video from 10 years ago is actually really good. So check out this video too. Okay, I am going to set the last video ID to be this. And we will await this. We're going to log it out. Oh, good call, Redkill. Yeah, because this needs the network now as well. And we're just going to make sure that we actually get back the extra metadata that we care about. But yeah, we changed our... and Mark Boots, thank you for the resub. Appreciate you. We changed our script here to not give it network access. Okay, let's give it a try. All right. Okay, so when we pulled from the Coding Garden archive, it did include the snippet. And that's great, because this has title, which is what we want, and description. And when it was published. That's great. That's all good metadata. But then, for these results, it does not have the snippet. What did we do wrong? Include snippet, true. Oh, we should pass it in. We need to pass it in for the subsequent requests. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, this is great. What's up, Alka? Good to see you. Hat tip. It's funny because I don't have a brim on my hat. Okay. Yeah. I want to type for this now. Yeah, item can also have a snippet, which is optional, which is of type snippet. And then we have our type here. That looks like this. It's not JSON, so I can't paste JSON as types. Here's what we'll do. We'll just set these to strings. And then I actually don't care about thumbnails or the channel title, but I do care about the publish time. Cool. Why don't we validate the response with Zod? I never trust any external API. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if we look at the actual types that come back, snippet could actually be null or undefined. We're going to assume it's not, but you're completely right. The thing is, that would create some overhead because we'd have to validate every single one of the items in the array. I'm okay with not validating it. Should be fine. Should be fine. Okay. This is great. So now when we call the API, it actually has the snippet. Now for each of these, we can write that snippet as metadata. Thank you, Jerry. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Okay. So let's call this results. We won't pass in last video ID. Results is a list of item. We can grab the video ID, but we can also grab the snippet. Or no. Should be able to pull the snippet. Yeah, we want the snippet now. And we'll destructure from ID the video ID. Okay. But in my type, I did say it was optional, so we can check to see here. We'll say if the snippet was not defined, well, error. Snippet not available for video ID. Please continue. But if it was defined, then we can write it. And I'm just going to extract out from the snippet the things that I actually want. We'll call it metadata. What's the best way to do this? Let's do this so I can just pull them all out easily. So we want the description, published at, title. What's the difference between published at and published time? Is there a difference? It's exactly the same. Why are there two? We'll just grab published at. Published at, title, description. That's all I want. And might as well include the video ID in there as well. Video ID, description, published at, and title. The difference between actually published and uploaded. Ah, that's probably exactly it, Fob. But all of my videos are published right when they're created. Yeah. I guess it's possible, but I actually don't care about the difference in this case, because as long as I have the date when it was published. And then here, we're going to put that in the metadata. What's up, the Movieverse? You saw the syntax CSS battle? Nice. Yeah, I edited that one, so I'm pretty proud of it, and it was super fun to do. So yeah, I'm glad you saw that. Yeah, unless it was a draft or unless it's not available, then the published time and the published at should be the same. Okay. This should be good. This is going to grab all our videos. It's going to write it. Cool. So this should take a second to get all of the data from the API, but then it should write it to the file system just as fast. So yeah, it's getting it from the API. Done. Beautiful. Now, if we take a look, that's what I want to see. So yeah, we have the video title, the description. Why is the description cut off? What? Oh, look at that. This is... Why is it not the full description? Because it's the YouTube API. Man, all right, let's look at their type, see if there's something I have to do to get the full description. I mean, just looking at what was logged earlier. Maybe not. Okay, so iTaquito has it. The date and time that the video was published. Note that this time might be different than the time that the video was uploaded. For example, if a video is uploaded as a private video, then made public at a later time. Yeah, so we care about when it was made public. Yeah, you have to click show more, but it's an API response. Man, The main reason I want the description is sometimes there are timestamps in there, and the timestamps could give context to what the video is about. Did YouTube return it correctly? Is there anything in here for description? Okay, let's look at videos. I think this might have the type in here because the snippet. Yeah, snippet. They have type definitions. Max of 150 characters? The snippet property contains the channel ID, title, description tags, and category ID. Yeah, I think if I want the full description, I have to individually call the videos endpoint with the video IDs. And then that endpoint would give me the full snippet. I don't want to do that. So I don't want to do that. I think title and publish stat is probably good enough because we're going to have the transcript as the, I don't feel like doing that because I would literally have to call it for every single video to get the full description. So we are not even going to put the description in the metadata. So all of this was to grab the title and when it was published, which is, it's good information. But now to the fun stuff. Now we can start working on vector embeddings. And that looks good to me. Okay. This is where we enter the unknown. Now I've done some reading, but I start every video saying what the title is. I've done some reading. What's nice is LangChain has some really good documentation on this. And if you're not familiar, LangChain is basically just, it's a framework with a bunch of packages for doing all sorts of AI type things. And that's the library that we're going to use. I didn't even check if we can use it with Deno. I'm going to assume because we can install it from NPM. So we should be able to use it with Deno. But this article here is build a retrieval augmented generation app part 1. And what we need to do first is create the embeddings. Yeah, so what are vector embeddings and what are they for? It allows, vectors allow us to compare similarity between text. But we can also, because these embeddings are created using an AI, those embeddings potentially also have not only text similarity, but meaning similarity as well. So if someone asks, what does CJ think of React? It's not just going to be a plain text search of all the transcripts of every time. It's not comparing that exact text with the exact transcript. There's meaning in there, like what does CJ think? So it knows to include opinion. And by creating embeddings of all of the transcripts, all that meaning is in those vectors as well. So what we'll do is someone will type a question like, what does CJ think of React? We turn that into a vector, or I guess we not even turn it into a vector, but we can then search the database using that question, and it will return things that match not only the plain text, but also meaning. Is that making sense? Is that making sense? It's essentially an AI thing, because the easiest way to do this without AI is just plain text search, right? I could literally just search my database or search my transcripts for every time the word React is mentioned. But there'd be a lot of junk data in there because I talk about React a lot. But if we're specifically looking for what are my thoughts on React or what are my opinions on React, it can take that question, the meaning is in there, and then when it's searching across all of the vectors that were generated, pre-generated and stored in that database, it can find all of the scenarios where that question is answered or makes sense. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. I'm still learning too, but that's my understanding of it. The other aspect of this is these vectors that we're going to be storing in our database can only be of a certain length. So before we store the vectors, we have to chunk or split up the document, right? Because sometimes I will do a 7-hour live stream or like a 8-hour live stream. And so this let's see for this video. Random video I selected. Yeah, this is a 5-hour video. It has 27,000 lines of text. So what we need to do is take this entire caption file here, chunk it up so that way it's small enough to create these vector embeddings, and then store and then create and store all of the vector embeddings. And this will eventually lead to retrieval augmented generation, but this is the first step of creating these vector embeddings. Yeah. It would match every mention of React and thoughts. No, because it's not a plain text match. My understanding is that it's not a plain text match. We will literally use AI to create these embeddings, and that AI is including meaning and semantics in the vectors that it creates. I'm making this look as like, am I even explaining this right? do I even understand this? But we don't even have to worry about that just yet. Yeah, and it should be super fast to query. But what we need to do is set up a database. We're going to be using libsql because libsql supports vectors. We can literally have a column in a table that allows us to store a vector embedding. And then what else do we need? We're going to be using Ollama. This is the other thing that I've done some research on. So if you might have heard of Ollama, this basically allows you to run AI models locally on your computer. And that's great because we don't have to pay for it. So we're going to use one of the embedding models. There is this model here, MXBAI embed large. Yeah, it's really bright. Let's fix that. Yeah. So just dump all the text into ChatGPT. Well, that's actually part of retrieval augmented generation, right? Like the issue is I couldn't take 30,000 lines of transcripts so let's say I have 100 videos. All 100 videos have 30,000 lines of a transcript. That is way too much text for the context if I were to try to submit that to ChatGPT, right? Because ChatGPT, the context window is only so large. Let's look up the context window size. Don't they just have... There's like a table. Yeah, what's the context window of GPT-4? 128,000? The AI said it? The AI answer? The window size for ChatGPT-4 is 4,096 tokens. That seems really low. That could be right, though. But let's say that this is right. That means we can only send 4,000 tokens, like less than 4,000 tokens in our prompt. Other models have a context window of like 30,000 tokens. So that means we can't just embed the entire transcript of every video, right? That's why this step that we're working on is important, because we can first search our database of vectors that we already have stored, and then find the chunks of the transcripts that make the most sense for the question the user is asking. And then we include that in our prompt to ChatGPT. So for instance, like we're going to put this in a vector database. Someone searches, what does CJ think of React? It's going to come back with, hey, this transcript, this section here is where he's talking about React. And then there's this other video over here, and there's this section where he's talking about React. So it's going to give us all these pieces across 500 videos. Maybe there are 5 videos where I talked about what I think about React, and it picked that out with the vector search, and that should be fairly fast. We then include those transcripts in a prompt to ChatGPT or some other AI model, and now it has the context. So instead of like hallucinating, it'll literally have the chunks of text where I talked about it, and then it will like summarize it and come up with an answer. So that is retrieval augmented generation, because we first retrieve the bits of data that are important in all of our transcripts, and then we send those bits along with the question the user is asking to an AI, and that gives us a more relevant answer. Yeah, I mean, you could. This is the first step to creating a like clippy version of CJ, where like you're in your editor and you're like, oh man, what would CJ do? And then I could pop up and be like, well, yeah. Well, thank you, Call Me Lambie. Yeah, we have one more that we already recorded that needs to be edited, but we're gonna do more of those because people definitely like the CSS battle. So that's RAG. Right now, we need to work on the vector part. And what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna follow this tutorial exactly because we're building with a different stack. First off, we need libsql, and then we also need LangChain Ollama, because they have a way to create vector embeddings. Yeah. So, but first we need to split things up before we read them. So yeah, the LangChain includes a library called recursive character text splitter. So this is a function we can use that's built into LangChain, and we can give it a chunk size and a chunk overlap. So it's basically going to go through that transcript of 30,000 lines and create chunks of 1,000 characters, but include an overlap of 200 characters. So that way it has a little bit of context between each of the chunks. But this library right here, this function, is what we need. So that way we can split it up. And then once we have that, we can start feeding the transcripts in it. Yeah, we want to do that too, Phylon. So do some like algorithmic stuff instead of just CSS battles. Those will be pretty fun too. Where is the vector store defined? Pick your vector store. But yeah, we're going to be using the libsql one, which isn't, well, no. Yeah. Wait, yeah. So if we look up LangChain libsql, and we want to look up LangChain.js because LangChain has a library for Python, but they also have one for JavaScript, and that's what we're going to be using. But yes, this gives us the libsql vector store. So this allows us to insert vector embeddings into a libsql database. And so libsql is just SQLite. So we're literally going to be creating a local SQLite database. Would it be worth it to parse out the timestamps? I want to include them because I want the responses, eventually, once we build this whole thing, I want the responses to embed a video, and they could literally put the start time and the stop time of the video and link to where I'm talking about that specific thing. So that's why I want to include the timestamps, because we'll need that information whenever we retrieve it later. But that could actually be metadata. Yeah, I think you might be right. We might have to pull those out, and then they're included in the metadata so that if a row matches, we then have the original timestamps. Yeah, I think we'll probably do that. Okay. This I need this library. This libsql client, LangChain OpenAI, LangChain community. I'm going to search JSR for these, but I think we'll just need to install them from npm. Like libsql. Yeah, libsql. I am just going to hope that these libraries work with Deno. Let's see. Deno add npm that, npm that, and npm that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I can talk about that. Maybe I'll. Remind me, Trapdoor. Remind me when we have some downtime, because I want to at least write a little bit of code here, but I'll talk about my thoughts on Firefox. But the short version is Firefox did all of that preemptively because they're going to need to start making money some way, right? Google is currently in an antitrust lawsuit because they are the default search engine in like a ton of web browsers. And that's where Firefox makes a ton of their money, is Google pays the Mozilla Foundation to make Google the default search engine in Firefox. If Google can no longer do that, Firefox needs to find a new way to make money. So my thought is the legal team at Mozilla was like, we need this stuff now, because before the Firefox didn't have a terms of service and a privacy policy. It was literally just a simple statement that says like, we won't ever sell your data. But now their privacy policy and their terms of service looks like every other browser. Like you could compare, and all the things that people have brought up about what's bad about the new terms of service exists in the Google Chrome terms of service and everything else. So yes, it feels bad, especially because they removed the part of their frequently asked questions that was like, we will never sell your data. But they needed all of this legalese so that they can find other ways to make money. The main points for me is why I am still using Firefox and why I will continue to use Firefox is you can still opt out. It's written in their, I think it's in their terms of their privacy policy. You can opt out of data collection. You can literally check a box and they will not collect your data, or like collect even anonymized data. So that's one thing. And then I guess that's the main thing. I don't know. I already talked about it too much. Let me collect my thoughts and also pull up all of the articles so I can like reference what those articles and blog posts were saying directly, because it's not super fresh in my mind. But yeah, that's the main thing for me is I think it's a lot of people overreacting, and you can still opt out. That's my main. You can still opt out. And eventually, if we want something like Firefox to continue to exist, Mozilla is going to need to find a way to make money. So they need an airtight terms of service and privacy policy so that they can do that. Those are my views on it. All right, let's get to coding now. It probably is opt-in by default, which is not that great. Yeah. We'll say create embeddings is what we're going to call this file. I'm going to copy from get latest because we will use key value to grab the video. I guess we can literally just read from the file system. We can just read the directory and then iterate over all the directories to create the embeddings for one folder at a time. What do I need? I'll have to figure it out. It'll be like Deno.read directory or something like that. If it's off by default, that would be great. But there already is data collection in Firefox already. And the other thing that I'll mention is all of this stuff isn't happening yet. It's only shipped, I think, in the nightly versions of Firefox. It's not in the main version of Firefox. It might not even be in the developer edition because it's in the nightly edition. So all of this hasn't happened yet. But even today, when you download Firefox, this is checked by default. Send interaction data to Mozilla. And there are other things inside of Firefox that I always disable anyways, like the Firefox Suggest. I disable Pocket. I disable the home screen. So like Firefox already had things that were like not that great in terms of like default opt-in options that I disabled anyways. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Okay, we have these libraries. What next? We need a database to talk to, and for that, we're going to use the Terso CLI, because we can create a just local instance of a libsql database, so we don't have to talk to a database in the cloud. Do I have Terso installed already? I do. Cool. And so this is the other thing, I guess I haven't talked about this, of my research in all of this, because the fact that I'm using Ollama, which can run on my machine, is great. The fact that I can use libsql running locally on my machine is great. So I can test out all of this stuff without having to talk to real databases in the cloud or real hosted AI APIs and like incur a fee. So we can figure all this stuff out locally, and then eventually we'll probably deploy an API that has like just a flat file Terso database, or we'll load this into like a remote Terso database. This is what I want. Actually, we can put this as a Deno task. db dev. So let's just call this db/dev.db. And we're going to git ignore the db folder. Address is already in use. How do we use a different port? Hey, no worry, laissez-faire. You can watch the VOD. Let's try -- port. I keep losing my place. Unable to open database file. Do I have to create the DB folder? I guess I don't. My checklist right now is basically we're following this tutorial, but not exactly. What's up, Neon Tuts? Good to be here. All right, cool. Okay, so Terso is now running. We have a SQLite database locally. So if we look in this DB folder, this is a SQLite database, but we can interact with it over this URL. So we don't have to talk to the cloud. It's running locally. That's great. Okay. We have a database. Next, what do we need next? We do need to create some tables. What's up, SMC Maya? Good to see you. I guess technically I think I did need to do the Terso dev because Deno can't use create client for like the local file. Yeah, okay. Ooh. But yeah, I think this will be our schema. Because we'll have the content, which will be the actual transcript. The metadata, which will be that JSON object with the title and description of the video. And then we have the actual vector embeddings there. We could use something like Drizzle. I'm just gonna do it raw with the libsql client. So I'm gonna create a file that's just like migrate DB, or let's call it like setup DB. All right, see you later, Fob. So setup DB is gonna run this against our database. So I'm going to look at the docs for libsql client to see how do we set up a connection, and then how can we run a query. Oh yeah, is there no drop game? There's no drop game because it's the Christmas drop game. Let me figure, I'll turn the drop game on. Let me figure out what port it's running on. ED81. There we go. Drop game should be good to go. Christmas every day is fine. Okay, so this file is going to create a client. It's going to talk to our database URL. And we'll set this up in our env file. What's up, Denif? Good to see you. Thanks for the prime. Appreciate you. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to update my .env file to point to this URL here, because that's our Terso database location. So let me do that. And so when we're running locally, it's just going to be that local host address. But eventually, if we deploy this, we can point it to a deployed Terso database, and the code should work exactly the same way. Let's pull in our env. That creates the client, and then we want to execute. And we are going to execute this schema here. Or this, the creation of this schema here. And what's up, Rust? We are about to try and create some vector embeddings of YouTube transcripts and put them into this libsql database. First, we need to figure out what is our dimensions, because we're going to be using that Ollama embedding model. So I need to make sure that the amount here, 1536, is the right one. I think the Ollama model we chose is like 1024 or something like that. It's this model, MXBAI embed large. Let's just search the web for it. Actually, I'm going to search LangChain, because I think there's Python documentation on how to use this. All right, we'll look at this article, see what they're doing. What do you think about people who say that web devs don't need to learn about trees? I guess if you're only doing front end, you can still get by, but still. I think it's worth it, because like even if you're doing DOM manipulation, the DOM is a tree. Ollama embeddings. In memory vector store? I guess we just need to look up how many dimensions this is. $1024. So this needs to be 1024. What is the sequence length? The suggested maximum sequence length is 512 tokens. Longer sequences may be truncated, leading to a loss of information. Okay, I think this has to do with how much data we're embedding. So later on, we'll need to take that into account when we're doing our chunking. So this part here, the chunking piece, those chunks need to be no more than 512 tokens. But otherwise, this is going to be our table. Let's run it. So I'm going to set up a script that setup db table name. Okay, we'll give it a name. Good call. DB setup. We don't need KV. We just need network access. Table name. Let's call this videos. That's what they are, right? Yeah, easy. And then we also need an index, though. Table name. Okay, we're going to create a table called videos. It's going to have the content, which will be the transcript, and it will have the metadata. Do we also want to store the text without timestamps? I don't think so. I think when we create the embedding, we're going to strip the timestamps off. But the content will have the timestamps because we're going to include the timestamps later on whenever we include it in a prompt. This seems fine. Let's try it out. Deno task DB setup. We do need read access. We probably need write access too then. We also need env. That makes sense. Oh, you can only do one statement at a time. That's okay. Okay. So wait. It did it. It created the table. I'm curious, is there a like Terso local dashboard? Can I like look at the data? I guess it's just a SQLite database. Using Drizzle Studio to visualize Terso. Huh. I don't think I want to set all of that up. What's the easiest way to look at a SQLite file? There's probably an extension. What's up, Limo? It's good to see you. Would I recommend beginners to learn Express.js? I guess it depends, because these days, Hono is the modern replacement for Express.js. But if you're like looking to get a job or whatever else, their companies are likely still using Express. So it's still relevant to learn. Yeah. Which extension though? And why don't these extensions list their install count? Fastify is all right too. I just never got, I like how simple Hono looks. Fastify, just looking at their docs feels like it adds a lot of stuff. When I say Hono is fundamentally better, it has better TypeScript support. It works across more runtimes. It has a bunch of built-in middlewares. So it's better in all those ways. If we're talking about like skills and like getting a job, companies are likely using Express if they have APIs built with node.js. SQL tools. Which one do I want? I'm not quite sure. I know people are using Deno in production. It's definitely a more recent thing in the past year or so, especially with the release of Deno v2. But it's going to take some time for there to be a lot more adoption. This one has 3 million downloads. Oh, I have it already. Okay. Does that mean I can just look at it? Oh, I can. Just click on it. All right. We have our videos table. We have our embedding column. Oh, it created it. Beautiful. And then we have our index there. Yeah, so it worked. It worked. Awesome. Companies would be using Nest.js, I think. Likely, yeah. So Nest.js feels very similar to building with Java or .NET, because you have things like controllers, and it's more enterprisey code. So I could see companies building with Nest.js too. And Nest.js is built on top of Express, I believe. Okay, we have ourselves a database. Wonderful. Now, we need to create a libsql vector store. And we need to create the Ollama embeddings. I do believe, so here's the thing about the LangChain docs. If you look up Ollama in LangChain.js, they don't list the Ollama embeddings. Maybe looking for this page? Chat Ollama? Not quite. Yeah, so like this is the model, and then there's this. But as far as I know, they don't have the vector embeddings in the docs, but I looked at the repo and it exists there, so I'm gonna try to pull it in. So we already installed the LangChain. Oh, did I install LangChain OpenAI? I did not want that. Yeah, we'll remove this and install LangChain Ollama. Okay, now we can import from Ollama, and let's see everything they have available. Ollama embeddings. This is what we want. Beautiful. Because if we look back at this tutorial, it's creating an OpenAI embedding. We'll do the same thing, but we'll create an Ollama embedding instead. Ollama embedding instance. And then the model name is going to be that one that I mentioned earlier, this MX embed large. Okay, so we've got our Ollama embeddings. I'll mention that I already set up Ollama. So if you go to ollama.com, you can download it, and then for any given model, they'll give you the command to run, and it'll pull that model down. So Ollama has all kinds of models like DeepSeek, and then there's one that's really good at like coding and stuff like that. You can pull those models down locally, and then Ollama is actually running an HTTP server locally, and that's what it's going to be making the request against. I have done very tiny things with Swift before. I don't believe I've tried Kotlin before. Okay. So we have our embeddings. We need to create a client in the same way that we did for setupdb. Does it require a GPU? It might, but I think they run pretty well on an M1 Mac or like on the Apple base. We're going to see. We're going to see how fast it is, because if it's super slow, we might actually need to use a hosted one like OpenAI or something like that. Okay, so we have our instance of embeddings. I think I have 16 gigs of RAM. Let me check really quick. Yeah, 16 gigs of RAM. Is that going to be enough? We will see. Actually, does the model tell us what we need? Oh, no. Okay, and then we create a vector store. Pass it in here. The table names is videos. Were we supposed to change the name of the embedding column? But it's called embedding column, so that's fine. Now we can add documents to our store. Let's just run. Let's do the tutorial stuff here. Make sure that this works. Make sure we can query it. Then we'll jump over to splitting and try to store like a real transcript. So let's just store some sample stuffs here. It looks like we're going to have to install LangChain Core. Yeah, Vapor Mode is cool. It's basically like compiled view, so it won't use the virtual DOM. So yeah, it'll increase performance for certain scenarios. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it'll be similar to how Svelte and Solid do things, and you can use it. I think there's like a test build you can use today, isn't there? Svelte vibe, exactly. Okay, we have LangChain Core. We are going to create these two documents, hello, bye-bye. And then we're going to add them to our vector store. We could delete them. We're not going to. Now we can query with a similarity search. This is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Because if we search our database for hola, which is Spanish for hello, if we were just doing a plain text search, it wouldn't find it because our database says hello and bye-bye. But because there's like semantic meaning in the embeddings that were created, hola, America 2050. Because there's semantic meaning, it should find our hello row. What's up, ES game player? Hola. Similarity search with score. What's this argument here? Second argument is the K number. Number of similar results to return. Defaults to 4. Oh. I guess we'll call this results. The docs called this the wrong thing. Okay. Moment of truth. We will run this. It's going to create the embeddings for these two things, and then immediately try to search with similarity search after that. This is going to test first, will our local Ollama even work? And also, how long is it going to take? Let's actually just do some console logging. Starting adding documents. Date.now. Finished adding documents. So what's nice about LangChain, which is this library that we're using, is this one call right here does all the hard work, right? It calls the Ollama API to create the embeddings, and it kind of abstracts that away from us, which is nice. Because later on, we could swap out likely the vector store or even our embedding model. We'd have to recreate the embeddings, but we could swap these out and the code would basically be the same. I'm curious, can we see Ollama logs? Troubleshooting. Because it would be nice to see the requests coming into Ollama. Help. List running models. We do not have any running models. I think when it calls the API, Ollama serve. Yeah, it's already listening. How to access Ollama server logs. On a Mac, these logs are here. Let's see what's in there. I'm just making sure that there's no identifying information in here. Okay. Cool. So I used the tail command with -F for follow. So now if any requests come into the Ollama API, we'll see it logged out here. And what port does it run on by default? 1143. Oh, thank you, Betty. Okay, so Ollama is running. We should see, yeah, and we saw that request there. Yeah, and there's the request. So when I run the codes to create the embeddings and then query, we should see the logs here to know that it's working and it's connected. If you do ! keyboard, it should pop up, but it's the RK Royal Kluge one, I believe. All right, we need another Deno task for create embeddings. Let's try it. Deno task, create embeddings. Adding documents. It's hitting the API. Great. It's taking a really long time. This might not be good because it literally, those documents are tiny and it's taking a very long time. I don't know. Does it have to like spin up? Maybe it had to spin up the model first, because yeah, these requests to embed were very quick. I'm curious now that the API is like hot, right? Like that something like let's try adding new documents and see how long it takes. What's up? See you later. And we'll return 4. So yeah, it worked. First of all, it worked. But what I'm curious is how long does it take to actually create those embeddings? And so now it seems like it's up and running. Yeah, okay, super quick. That at least for these tiny documents. Yeah. Great. That's beautiful. So actually creating adding the documents, creating the embeddings is fairly quick, even running on my local machine. Love to see it. Okay, so that worked. Now let's just try adding a single transcript, but we need to chunk it up, right? We have a giant transcript. We need to turn it into chunks. Let's see actually what video this is. Building a pixel art maker from 4 years ago, September 1st, 2020. Cool. This is going to be the one we use as an example. Okay. Let's comment this stuff out for now. We are going to read the files in that directory. Let's just call this like video IDs. September 1st is your birthday. Oh, nice. Ewan Murphy. That video was created on your birthday. And then for ID of video IDs, we're going to read that directory, read the SRT file and the metadata file from that directory. Well, that's part of the process. We're going to remove the timestamps when we create the embedding. So that way the numbers, the timestamps aren't on there, just the text. Okay. I'm going to copy my code for like creating paths. What's the video path? Data path. And then the video path is the data path with that given ID. And then we'll grab the SRT file. And we'll also grab the metadata file. Okay, so let's read both of these in. So our metadata is going to be deno.read text file from that metadata path. And we'll JSON.parse that. Okay. And then the captions are just read that SRT file in. Okay. Let's log it out to make sure that this worked. What? Oh, some weird random import got added. Wonderful. So given a video ID, we can read in the caption information. We can read in the metadata information. Now that I think about it, though, the original like captioned XML file might be better because it doesn't have, like, we don't have to pull out the what do you call it? The timestamps. Well, I don't know. Does the metadata get type safety? Right now, no. But we do have a type for it. Or do we? No, we don't. We do. It's a snippet type, but it's a partial snippet type. Wait, where did that come from? Oh, not from YouTube. Oh, YouTube had the snippet type. We created that ourselves earlier. Import from there. I don't like that it doesn't show me the type when I hover over it. But we want to omit description and publish time and channel ID. We'll create a new type because we also added the ID. Video metadata. Cool. So now it should have type safety. But we need to chunk the captions and split them up, but also remove the timestamps from them. But we want to retain the timestamps in the content. I almost want to parse in the caption file to have every single, like, to have row by row by row by row. Because then we could have row, start time, end time, text, start time, end time, text, start time, end time, text. And then we could iterate over those and concatenate them until we reach the limit for embedding. Then we don't even have to use their text splitting. Because what I'm up against right now is the process of splitting. You pass all of the text into it, right? So this recursive character text splitter, it splits it, and then we add those as documents. But how do we get it to split it while maintaining the timestamp information? That's the main issue. Let's actually, we'll pull this library in and let's see what it does with the timestamps, because we could ask it to split it and then remove the timestamp information ourselves before we pass it to add documents. Let's try that. That's probably going to be the easiest way to go. So I need to install text splitters. Don't copy that. Why not? I could look at the docs directly for recursive character text splitter. And then we're going to pass in an array of documents. Just a single. Oh, we'll have to create our document. The page content will be the captions. The metadata will be the metadata. Like so. And then let's see what it gives us back. Okay. I made a CLI tool for generating a now config a while back. That's probably it. And now that thing's outdated. What's up, JCVD and Richie and Nikki? Speedrun, because yeah, we've been live close to an hour. And then it has the metadata with the location and the lines. So here's what we could do is I'm realizing now that these captions are really bad. These captions are really bad. There's a JSON splitter. The thing is, we have a. I mean, I guess maybe I should do some research. Like, what's the best way to split an SRT file? Maybe because somebody's probably already solved that problem before. Because like all this is just extra, right? We don't need even the numbers. Let's just look at their text splitters library. See what other let's see what other text splitters are in there. Character text splitter, latex text splitter, markdown text splitter, token text splitter. Ooh. The reason the token text splitter interests me is because we have a token limit of 512 tokens. What does this thing do? Which looks at tokens. Chunk size, chunk overlap. Ah. Yeah, that's a good point, Eddie. We don't need the end time if the point is to point to a specific time in the video. We just need the start time of that text. Huh. Yeah, this just figuring this part out is tricky. Okay, let's say we do a chunk size of 500 and an overlap of 100. So overlap with 100 tokens. Let's see what this gives us. Seems longer. My thought is, man, because my thought is, so it's doing the token splitting, great, we can, before we pass it to create the embeddings, we have access to this page content, and we can strip out these timestamps. What's up, Jeffrey Davidson? Welcome in. What are you walking into? We're knee deep in some codes here, but there might be some other new people around. So let's take a step back. We'll talk about the whole project, and then we'll get back into it. But I am creating a tool that will allow people to ask questions that search across every live stream and every video I've ever made to answer those questions. And in previous streams, we first got metadata about every video and live stream I've ever done from the YouTube API. That's in here. And then in another stream, we went through and downloaded the transcripts for every video and live stream I've ever done. And we stored those locally in this folder. So we have a captions file along with the video ID and then some metadata. And then today we are creating vector embeddings. So for every video and for every captions file, we're creating vector embeddings so that we can search across all 600 videos. Like someone could type in a question like, how would CJ solve this problem? Or what does CJ think about React? Or why does CJ use Firefox? And using vector search, it could easily retrieve all of the instances where I talk about using Firefox or I talk about why I like React or don't like React. And then that can be fed into an AI to answer the question in a succinct way. But now it has context that we pulled from the captions. Does that make sense? So that's what we're building overall. But what we're working on right now is the problem of taking these captions and turning them into vector embeddings. We have a tutorial of sorts from LangChain. We're in this step right here, which is we have a caption file that's really long. And some of my live streams are 4 hours long, 5 hours long. So like this one caption file here is 16,000 lines long. And we need to split this up before we create the vector embeddings because we can't create a vector embedding that's this large. So the problem we're trying to solve right now and trying to think through is, first of all, there's a lot of noise in this caption file. Because it's an SRT file, it has the line numbers, it has the start and the end time. But what we really care about is just the text, at least for creating the vector embeddings, because we care about the text. But if we have the text and the vector embeddings for that text, and we also have the timestamps associated with that text, we can bring that back in later. But this is the issue: is we used one of LangChain's built-in splitters, and so it in one go can take this big long file and split it up into multiple chunked documents, but those chunks include the timestamps. And honestly, do we even care that the timestamps are in here? I guess the main issue is those timestamps could interfere with the vector embeddings. Like it could make it harder for it to find the matches because like the text is split across multiple lines. I think what I'm going to do is, could I try it first? Here's what I'm going to do. So we used the chunker. It already did its job chunking things up. We have access to this page content variable. I'm actually just going to parse this and pull out any line that is not text. We'll use that for the vector embedding, and then we'll include the text with timestamps in the metadata. Yeah. I guess I could try it first. Yeah, let's try it. Honestly, let's just try it. The issue, I guess the issue right now is we're just doing one video, so we'll have to figure out what we want to search this video for. But yeah, well, why not? Let's try it and see. Let's literally try it and see. Okay. I guess we also could play around with the chunk overlap. Like how many... Because one of the issues of creating these chunks is if there's no overlap between the various chunks, then they're completely out of context. But by having some overlap, like this one ends with like coffee shops and stuff like that. And then this one should have that in here. Yeah. Like coffee shops and stuff like that. So like this whole part is overlapping just in case when we're looking through this text, it includes the previous one as well. All right, honestly, let's try it out. The nice thing about doing all this stuff locally, because we're using Ollama, is we're not incurring any fees. Like we're not talking to the OpenAI API. If we were using OpenAI, we would have to pay for creating these embeddings, and we couldn't experiment as much. So why not? Why not? Let's just let's just try it and see. Okay. First of all, I'm going to wipe out my database because I have, heck yeah, let's try it and see. Okay, because let's kill the database because I put dummy data in there. So we're just going to wipe it out. Start it up. Cool. Recreate the tables. Cool. Split it up. Add them to our vector database. Do a little bit of logging. Take a quick break. This looks good. I'm going to double check their... Is this the article where they did the splitter? Yeah. So they created the splitter. This is the other cool thing about LangChain is they have a bunch of built-in ones. They have a Cheerio web-based loader. This allows you to point it at any web page and then create vector embeddings for that web page. So if you've ever used like Perplexity AI, and I guess any AI tool that searches the web, it very likely is using maybe not that loader, but some loader like it. Because you could say something like, how popular is React today? And it actually searches the web and then using the search results creates a response that references the original results. But with LangChain, using their Cheerio loader, you could do something like this because you could figure out all the web pages, create vector embeddings for those web pages, query those vector embeddings, and then you have the right context to send for your AI prompt. Which is cool, but we're not doing that. So yeah, we split them, we add them. Yeah, splitting documents, storing documents. Let's see. Here we go. We're adding 366 documents. Ollama, I think, has to spin up again. I think it like goes to sleep. Because earlier it was hot, like it was in memory. Could you use Cheerio Loader to create chattable docs? Definitely. Yeah, I think that's how you would do it. Unless your docs are already in Markdown or something like that. Yeah, you could use Cheerio Loader to create an app that lets you like chat with a website. Because you could use the Cheerio Loader to create the vector embeddings for all the text across a website. And then someone could ask a question. It returns the vector embeddings. Then you figure out what web page to point them to or give them an answer based on the embeddings that you have. Huh. There we go. Now it's adding them. Or at least trying. Okay. Let's take a look at our database. We can look at videos. How do I query the table? It's pretty fast. Yeah, I think just having to spin up, it takes most of the time, but once we start adding all of the videos, it's going to be pretty fast. How does this extension work? Oh, that's why. Okay, so, videos has no rows, but the embedding index should have 377 rows or 66. 366 rows. Why are there no rows in the videos table? Oh, is there one? No. I guess let's try querying it. So at this point, we added a single video to it. What's up, Wes? We are creating vector embeddings. That is what we were working on. And we just created vector embeddings for a single video's transcript. So we have this video here. We have the transcript file. We created the vector embeddings. Now we can search it. I don't know what we should ask it. I guess the similarity search would be like, let's say like React use state. Let's see how many times I talked about use state in that video. Really fast. Okay, now I think I'm going to take this prop. So right now this is internal state, but my app needs to tell the grid to set a cell to be a specific color. So I'm going to lift the state up. I'm going to take the state out of the color picker and I'm going to move it to the app. Then I'll pass the state down to the function to update the state. That's cool. So this is React in JavaScript. Oh yeah, we need a key. We need a key, the color on this. Oh no, the grid. Now typically you shouldn't use the index as the key, but in this case, so this goes here. Looks like React is more friendly compared to Angular. It's relative. You have to do a lot of stuff manually in React, whereas Angular does a lot for you. So to me, this piece right here, like this is 4 sentences from a live stream about working with React. But if someone were to ask the question, what does CJ think about React? This would be relevant to pull in, because I'm saying here that you have to do a lot of stuff manually in React, whereas in Angular, it does a lot for you. That's cool. Huh. So the similarity search works. I guess let's move on to the next step of like retrieval augmented generation. Because, okay, so basically if we're prompting against this one video, we should be able to say, at what time in the video does CJ start working on X feature? And that, we should be able to do that. So we added our documents. They have a RAG prompt. Oh, so this is the other cool thing about LangChain is they have a ready to go prompt, right? So you're an assistant for question answering tasks. Use the following pieces of retrieved context to answer the question. If you don't know the answer, just say you don't know. Use 3-sentence maximum to keep the answer concise. Question, context, answer. And then we're using LangGraph. So we do a similarity search based on the question. Still looks like a lot of information that was returned in the query. It's because each of these is its own embedding. So that's one embedding. This whole thing is another embedding. So each of these chunks is an embedding. And each of these chunks is a result. Like right now, it's not doing anything smart in terms of using AI to like answer the question in a smart way. Right now, it's just doing a similarity search. Yeah, in this case, the similarity search is the question. I guess if we said something like, at what time in the video does CJ talk about, I don't know, what am I even doing in that video? Let's pull up that video to see what we should ask about it. SRT parser 2, what does that do? Parse an SRT into array. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that because we actually created the SRT ourselves from an XML file. I'm not worried about parsing the SRT. I'm more so worried about how do I create chunked data that also includes the timestamps in the chunked data. Perfect, Wes. At what time in the video does CJ compare React to Angular? Wonderful. And let's just a maximum of 3 results. Looks like React is more friendly compared to Angular. It's relative. You have to do a lot of stuff manually in React, whereas Angular does a lot for you. So now I've moved the state up to the app. Cool. For Angular, probably like third or fourth live stream I ever did was an intro to TypeScript in Angular. I should be able to start it back up, and I should... A lot of this stuff is out of context too, though. An idea is to separate the data into time and not into characters. Like a chunk can be all you said in 30 seconds. I like that. Yeah, but the main issue is I still don't want to lose this context here. Really, the only what do you call it? The only hang up here is I would have to write all of that chunking manually myself versus using their built-in text splitter. That's the main thing. Because I can split it up myself. I can figure that part out. Yeah, and then this is the part there. Yeah, I mean, this would be perfect context for asking the AI something after that. Retrieve the contents, invoke it, get the response. Start time, text, then let the splitter split. Oh, I see what you're saying. So each line just has start time dash text, start time dash text. I kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Is that what you're saying? Then convert it to seconds? Yeah. Yeah, I got you, Solomon. I mean, honestly, though, I was like, I can parse this. Like, parse on new lines. Honestly, it's a fun little coding challenge to like unparse the SRT file. The thing is, our XML file is actually I think it's a lot more readable. Let's look at the XML file. Because the XML file has start seconds and then text. We can literally just read the XML file. And honestly, this seems, maybe we just use the XML file for our documents instead of the SRT file, right? Because the XML file literally has like these text nodes with start and duration. For some reason, XML better than anything else. It's just because this is the format that we originally got it from their API in. Yeah. I'm just going to do exactly. I'm going to read in. I'm going to read in the XML file and just create a text file that has start time dash text. That's what I'm going to do. It's. I feel like it's going to be so much better than the SRT file because it's just too much junk data in there, and it's probably going to be less tokens too. So let's do that. Last stream, we spent some time figuring out the end time just to not use it in the end. Exactly. We literally on one of the streams was me just figuring out how do we convert this XML into SRT, and now we're figuring out we don't need it. We don't need it at all, but that's okay. Get video transcript. Yeah, we need this DOM parser. And then we query all the documents. Great. So we don't need the SRT apparently. Yeah, apparently not. Import DOM parser. Parse this XML. Grab all of the text nodes. We only need the start and the text content. Did we pull in an unescape method? Yes, we did from HTML entities. And then the yeah, what's up, Coding Garden fan? Good to see you. Let the garden grow. So captions is just going to be string. Actually, we'll make it an array that we then join together. And we will push in a string that just has the start time and the text. We're going to join all that text together on the new line. Cool. And we're going to wipe out our database again. Deno task db setup. Cool. Deno task create embeddings. And it's only 164 documents instead of 377. Do I need to tell the LLM what the format of the data is? That will be for the next part, the retrieval augmented generation. Because we can tell it that it is timestamp text. Do I have any experience with Deno workspaces? I don't. I've tried a few times to get it to work well, but it seems there's a lot of things to polish yet. Yeah, I know they only recently added workspaces support. But yeah, I haven't tried it yet. It's making multiple requests to embed. HTTP code 400? Oh, you're right. Oh, 400 is... No, that would be a bad error code, wouldn't it? What were you expecting rows in videos to look like? I don't know. I honestly have no idea how it stores the data. Also, I didn't even double check that my caption creation was correct. That actually could be an issue. Input length exceeds maximum content length. That probably makes sense. That's cool. That's what we want to see. Is this literally the entire transcript? Oh, no. 146,000 more characters. But this is, yeah, that makes sense. That's what we created. Let's look at our database. It didn't create any embeddings. Huh. It's just erroring out. That's so unfortunate. We didn't do anything different. We just changed the data format. Input length exceeds maximum content length. How do we see the size of the chunks? We could log the documents. Yeah, that's one thing we could do before sending them to the API. documents. So this is one document. ID undefined? What? Where's that coming from? Do I need to give this an ID? Hmm. Here's what did it look like before? All right, see you later, Murdoch. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one. Let's go back to what we had before and see if that works. Maybe it just doesn't like what we're doing here. SRT. Yeah, so same thing. The ID is undefined. I don't know if that actually matters. Honestly, I think I'm just going to stop Ollama and then restart it. What's up, JC? Good to see you. Oh. Well, never mind. We had a type error here, but now it should be fine. Oh, split text. That's probably what we want. No, because then it'll create documents. Is JC my distant cousin? Possibly. All right. Ollama, stop. Ollama, help. Stop a running model. What's the name of this model? This one? Okay, so we stopped the model. And now it should restart when we make another request to the API. Let's see. Yeah. It's getting these 400 status codes though. Hmm. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I guess we'll wait for it to fail and then search the web. But it's crazy to me that it like worked the first time, but then when we changed formats, it stopped working. Yeah, the course isn't for sale anymore. I honestly, I think I'm going to give it away for free, but I don't want people that paid for it to feel bad because I'm giving it away for free. So I'm probably going to give it away for free like in 3 months. Yeah. But if you already bought React Roots before, check your email because I sent a link to how you can watch the video. So if you already bought it, you should be able to watch it. Should be able to watch them. Input length exceeds maximum content length. I guess it's possible. Yeah, maybe we reduce our chunk size. But it worked earlier, so I don't know what the error means. I mean, we should probably search the web for it. But yeah, we're getting these 400 status codes. Oh no, we lost the error. Error. Doing embed document with Ollama always gets an error 400. No one answered. It worked. So maybe it was the chunk size? Huh. That's weird. Oh well. Let's try to ask this now. Yeah, seems fine. Okay, so let's do the rag part. And the thing is, our chunks are much smaller now. Huh. But I guess that's okay. Maybe we play around with the chunk size. I can open it up or just search the web for it. If you're on Twitch, you can post a link. You can't post links on YouTube. Yeah, I found it. API gets timed out. Chunk size for, yeah, let's increase the chunk size until it stops working. Oh, is it chunk size plus overlap? And we need to meet 512? So a chunk size of 400 with an overlap size of 112. No, but then that would be 112 times 2. So 512 minus 112 times 2. Uh, 300. 300. But I guess the issue is, yeah, so let's try it with a chunk size of 450, but that might actually be the issue. Chunk size of 450, overlap size of 200. Yeah, so the chunk size was exactly the same earlier. What's up, Anonymous Clover? Yeah, we're getting 200 status codes now. It worked. Cool. But now our database has extra stuff. So let's clear out the DB. And then set it up. And then recreate the embeddings. Yeah, the thing is this going to take a while to load the database? Like, this is just for one video. We have 500 more of these. So if this is the time it takes for one video, I'm going to have to leave this running in the background for a while to create all the embeddings. It'll probably be faster, like, using a hosted AI as well. Does the embedding need to be the same model as the one in the RAG part? Could you use OpenAI to ask the questions? You can. Yes, you can. So the retrieval part just uses our vector embeddings to do the search. We can then take that as context and send it to any model. We could send it to OpenAI. I'm going to try to send it to an Ollama chat model. I'll have to pull one down though. But yeah, okay, let's get back to this. You missed everything, default hacker. But at this point, we have read a single transcript in. So we have a transcript of a YouTube video that I made like 4 years ago. We read it in. We then created vector embeddings. Those are stored in a libsql database. Now we're moving on to the augmented. Well, now it's all RAG. So we have the vector embeddings in the database. Now when a user asks a question, we're going to pull the similar documents and then create a prompt that we pass to an LLM with the context that were retrieved from by querying the documents. So yeah, we added the documents. Given a user question, we should ideally be able to return the snippets that answer the question. Yeah, we're kind of at that point. And then for the chat model, we're going to use Ollama. Let's pick our Ollama chat model. Anybody in the chat, the Twitch chat, are you familiar with Ollama, and which one should I use? I guess, should I use DeepSeek? How big is it? 5 gigabytes? I think I'm running pretty low on disk space. I got 5 gigabytes to spare. DeepSeek is the best. The 7, how many parameters though? 14 billion, 32 billion? And also, does LangChain have a DeepSeek? Well, no, we only need the Ollama chat integration because we'll just tell it to use the DeepSeek model. Depends on how much memory I have. Well, how do I know how much memory is required? Does it tell me that? The model size is VRAM. Oh, okay. I have 16 gigs of RAM. So I guess we could do the 14 billion parameter one. Text completion models. Chat completion models. 14B is perfect. All right, let's pull it. Try a smaller model first. But why don't we just go for the 14B? 32 billion won't work well. Yeah, because it's 20 gigabytes. Yeah, why not? Let's go with 14 billion. So that's going to pull the model. I got to download 9 gigabytes. While that's pulling the model, let's figure out the part where we, so we do want chat, but we want chat Ollama. So we're going to pull in chat Ollama. And I guess I'll create a new file for this, like, just call it like query. Or what rag. We'll call it rag because that's what it is. It's a rag. So we're not going to care about splitting anymore, or this, or this. Probably don't need that, or that. And music makes it. Thank you for the resub. Appreciate you. So we're going to create an instance of chat Ollama. We're going to tell it that we want to use the DeepSeek R114B. Okay. So we have our LLM variable. We have our embeddings. Now we need LangChain hub and LangChain langgraph. What's the temperature for chat Ollama? I don't even know what that parameter means. I guess that's how does he? No, I think that's how random it is, right? Is that what that variable is? There's probably people that know more about these LLMs than I do in the chat. But yeah, we need some things. We need LangChain hub. I'm using Ollama. So Ollama just runs on my MacBook. And then we need LangChain graph. Okay. We have our prompt. I'm just gonna copy paste everything. So pull. Oh. We need these two things. Temperature is amount of creativity allowed in the response. Cool. Guess we do need document. So we're pulling the rag prompt template. We have a question, answer, and context. We're going to search our vector database for similarity based on the question that's asked. It's going to give us back a list of documents. We then put that context into the question that we're going to send to the LLM, and then we send that message to the LLM. And LLM is chat Ollama, so it's going to talk to Ollama using the DeepSeek model with the context that we just got back from the vector, or from the vector embeddings. Then it creates a graph. This part I'm unfamiliar with. LangChain basically allows us to combine all this stuff together, and we're adding nodes. So we have retrieve, generate, yeah, and then it connects them together with edges. And then we have a compiled graph that we can use. So from there, we can say like this. At what time in the video, and then give it the title, does CJ compare, or we can do it like this. In what video and at what time does CJ compare React to Angular? That's our question. We'll invoke it and then log out the result. Cool. How are we doing on this model pool? Ooh, it's ready. How does it know you are CJ? I don't know. We can tweak the prompt later on. Quit. Exit. I literally just prompted it. I don't know how to use /by. Okay. I literally prompted deep think. I just said quit. Okay. Cool. Are we ready? Are we ready? Let's also see how long this takes. Asking date.now. Answering. Answered. Date.now. We also want to see how long it takes to retrieve. We already know that the similarity retrieval is there. What does performance.now do? I've never used it. Or at least I don't remember using it. Timestamp in milliseconds. Oh, since start. We'll just use date.now and we can more precise. Okay. All right. Moment of truth. This is like the first proof of concept, and then from here we just add a bunch more vectors to our database. We probably need to work on the prompt as well, but yeah, we are on our way. RAG. Deno task RAG. Asking. Oh, I think it has to spin up again. We'll do it again after the first run, once it's hot, once the model is running and in memory. Truncating input prompt. Our limit is 2048. Our prompt is 2294. Dang. Our RAG code doesn't create any embeddings, does it? No, it just... I wish we had more insight into what was happening with Ollama here. because it's working. It's working. On the edge of your seat? Yeah, me too. But I'm also curious, why is it making a post request against embed? It doesn't need to embed. We're just hitting the chat endpoint. Did I run the right thing? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. We have our vector store. Oh. Yeah, I forgot about this. We need to turn this question into vector embeddings before we can query the database. That's why it's hitting the embed endpoint. Yeah, okay, let's see. Oh, it gave us a whole lot. Okay. Oh, this is the thinking part. We can ignore the thinking part, right? Yeah, we're gonna have to improve the prompt. Comparison of React and Vue.js. That is not what we want. We need to change the prompt. We need to tell it what it's looking at here. So let's see where we could modify the rag prompt. Ignoring the thinking part is what I do best. Yeah, but this is one of the things that is cool about DeepSeek is it iterates, like it thinks and thinks and thinks, and then it comes up with an answer. Rag prompt. Yeah, I want to change this prompt. How can I update the prompt? Because right now I am using this chat prompt template. Can I change it? Question context. Prompt template dot. Oh. I can just format my own. I don't need the prompt template. I can literally just invoke this with this. Yeah, that's literally it. And then I can pass in the question, the content, and state.question. Yeah, that's literally all I need. I don't need this prompt template anymore. And then we can craft our own template. Thank you, Nick Woodward. I appreciate that. These prompt templates are cool, though, because, you know, it's something they're prompts that are probably used pretty often. But ours is going to be custom. Nice. Yeah, see you later. Thanks for dropping in. Okay. Okay, let's figure out what we're going to tell it. So you're an assistant for question answering task. Use the following pieces of retrieved context to answer the question. If you don't know the answer, just say you don't know. Use 3 sentences maximum and keep the answer concise. Okay. You are an assistant that helps users find specific videos. Oh, the content is only using the page content. I need it to include the video title And yeah, I need to add that to the context as well. Okay, so you're an assistant that helps users find specific videos and sections of videos from the Coding Garden YouTube channel hosted by CJ. Use the following pieces of retrieved context from videos to answer the question. If you don't know the answer, just say that you don't know. Use 3 sentences maximum and keep the answer concise. Okay, that should be a little bit better. But in our context, we also want to include the title of the video. Actually, I guess I can do this. Metadata.title. Include the context format as well. Oh yeah, I tell it what the format is. Yeah, good call. Title. Publish date. And limit the prompt size. Okay. Doc.metadata.published at. And we are going to join that together on new lines. And we're going to join all of that together with 3 dashes so it separates each piece of video. This coding skill is beyond me. Well, you can do it. It's possible. Anybody can code, I think. I mean, yeah, I think anybody anybody can do some types of coding. Anybody could do what I'm doing right here, because I'm literally just taking existing stuff and then combining it together. I'm not doing anything original. I'm literally the libraries are doing all the hard work. I'm just feeding it the stuff to make it do what I want. Video ID. You're cramming IT school and working on Python? Nice. Okay, let me make sure that I am using the right property names, because we don't have any type safety on this thing. Published at, and title, and then ID. And let's also log the message out so we can debug it. You're an assistant that helps users find specific videos and sections of videos from the Coding Garden YouTube channel hosted by CJ. Use the following pieces of retrieved context from videos to answer the question. If you don't know the answer, I guess I won't tell it the context first and just see what happens. Because we could describe that the context is the video title, publish date, etc. Huh. Let's try it. Did I log the message out? I didn't log the message out. If you can think logically and you love to problem solve, then you can do it. Yes, and I also think that thinking logically and problem solving can be taught, but not everyone does it naturally. In fact, most people don't. But if you're that kind of person, it should be pretty easy. But if not, you'll have to learn those skills as well. Okay, this is what we got. Oh, I don't like that. I want to separate these with new lines. That. In what video and at what time does CJ compare React to Angular? And then the context has the title, publish date, and video ID. Title, publish date, video ID, title, etc. I guess the context window isn't big enough for this model because it's limiting our prompt to 2048 characters. So it chopped off the last 500 characters. Let's do this. We're going to slice it from 0 up to the query can be set to return only one item. I'm not telling it the result count. Or am I? Maybe I'll have to look at that. The limit is 2048. So we want 2048 minus the length of this. It did the thing again. That's cool. Okay, looking back at the initial message, the user ended with, but didn't specify what exactly to answer. So I'm not sure if they want a summary, a code example, or something. Oh. No, we have the question. Oh, here, I guess we could put this as user question, context, your answer. Assuming they want a summary, I can break down the main points into sections. Okay. Hopefully. Maybe the splitting also messed it up. So this truncation might help. User question. In what video and at what time does CJ compare React to Angular? Yeah, I like that better, putting the question last. Question, answer, context, question, answer. In the video titled Building a Pixel Art Maker with React.js, CJ compares React and Angular around minute 68:45. He mentions preferring React over Angular due to Angular's complexity and specific structure requirements, especially with TypeScript. That's not bad, but I don't think that's true. That's much better. That's actually, I mean, honestly, this is, we're on our way, right? It's happening. It's happening. Looking at the context provided, it's from a video. In the timestamps given, CJ mentions Angular, saying he doesn't prefer it and has built things with it, but finds it very involved, especially with TypeScript and specific structuring. So putting this together, the comparison happens in that video at the mentioned time. I should structure the answer to include the video title, the timestamp, and a brief mention of what was said. Great work. All right, let's try it now with the reordered context. Yeah, you're right. It only has one video's context. It's only going to get better with more, or I guess it could get worse. That's not right. Did I not save the file? We should see the question last. Yeah, so we see the context. Oh. We don't want to truncate the question. We're truncating the question right now. The message end is all of this. Yeah, we're truncating the question. We need to truncate the context. Yeah, so here we go. How many chunks are coming from the database? We have one document. Oof, we only have enough context for one document, it looks like. Because there's one, and then it truncates the other one. In the video titled Building a Pixel Art Maker with React.js at around 4,084 seconds, CJ compares React to Angular, noting Angular's complexity with TypeScript. Seems fine. The thing is, we'll probably be using a better model when we prompt it anyways. Something that can have a bigger context. Because this context window is tiny. That's true, Jerry. CM Griffin! Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. Welcome to the Coding Garden. Today, we are working on retrieval augmented generation. And we got there, sort of. But welcome in. What were you working on? It's good to see you. I haven't streamed in a very long time. So yeah, it's good to be back. But yeah, basically what we were working on is the end goal is to allow people to ask questions about every video I've ever made. So in previous live streams, we called the YouTube API and got the transcripts for every live stream, every video on my channel and my archive channel. And all of that data is locally here. So we have the captions for each video and then some metadata, like the title and when it was published. And we want people to be able to ask questions about it. So first we needed to create vector embeddings. And so that's what we worked on today. So we're using LangChain and we're storing the embeddings in libsql. And then we're using Ollama, which is AI models that you can run locally. So beginning of the stream, we worked on creating the embeddings, and we got it so that we created the embeddings for a single transcript. Part of that is also chunking, because we had our transcripts are like between 15 and 30,000 lines long. And so part of this retrieval augmented generation is when you store the vector embeddings, you need to break up your documents into chunks. So we had to do that. We stored them in the vector database, and then we just tested out asking it a question. And it did all right. But right now there's only one video in our database. So we want to add more. But basically we have one video in the database. And then the question we asked it is, in what video and at what time does CJ compare React to Angular? And that searches our database to find the relevant context. It then uses that context in a prompt where we tell it, you're an assistant that helps users find specific videos and sections of videos. We put the context in, which includes the timestamps and everything about the videos that were retrieved from the database, and then the AI spits out their answer. And it pretty much worked, but we need to test it with more videos and more context. But for this question, in what video and at what time does CJ compare React to Angular? It says, in the video titled Building a Pixel Art Maker with React, at around 4,084 seconds, CJ compares React to Angular, noting Angular's complexity with TypeScript. So it's pretty good, but we'll see how it performs once we have more context. But CM Griffin was working on a domain lookup tool. Takes a word, translates it, and Asasan, thank you for the resub. Appreciate that. Translates it to every language Google supports. Then I look up domains via Cloudflare, and then I want to use RAG to check if there are products of those names in Google search results. Oh, nice. This is literally something I do manually all the time. Like, if I'm not necessarily for domains, but if I'm trying to come up with a name for like a library or something, I'll like what is this word in Latin or in Japanese or German? So that's pretty slick to try to find domains as well. I like it. I should try the Llama 3 model 7 billion. It has 8,000 contexts and is more polished. Okay, I'm going to try that one. But just learning about LangChain, it's super cool because they've thought of it all. So like you just talked about like doing web search results and then doing like retrieval. For the document splitting, they literally have a built-in splitter that uses Cheerio. So you can literally pass it the URL to a web page. And let's see. Oh, so the like Cheerio-based web loader. So like you pass it a URL, this gives you back the document according to that URL. And then you can pass that into a splitter to create all the chunks. That then gets stored in your vector database. And then they have pre-built prompts for retrieval augmented generation. Like we tried to use the built-in one, but we needed to customize the prompt a little bit more. So we took theirs, which almost looked like this, but didn't have all this context. But it's cool because they have all these templates, like pre-built prompt templates. But yeah, it's cool. Carter from DataStax would probably be pumped to be involved with this if you're looking for partnership in some way. This is more of like a standalone thing, especially like I'm right now. The reason I'm using Ollama and I want to do everything locally, like all in a local database. The timestamp was correct and it didn't hallucinate. We needed to check that, but that's good to know. Music makes it 4078. Honestly, that's the real moment of truth. Where is it? 4084. Can you pass in the second timestamp? Did you just double check a computer? But yeah, I want to try that model that Mr. Reboot mentioned. Yeah, and what's up, Asazon? Things are good. Yeah, I use Cheerio all the time for web scraping, and I was doing some web scraping in a Cloudflare worker, and for some reason, well, I know the reason, but JS DOM and Happy DOM were not working in Cloudflare workers, but Cheerio does, so I've been using Cheerio for that. 4048. Let's try it. Let's go to that video. Is it and t equals that? I don't prefer Angular. No, I've built some things with Angular, but Angular is very involved. There's a lot. you got to use TypeScript. They structure things in a very specific way. All that good stuff. Amazing, amazing. The fact that it knows the exact spot in the video too is really good. Okay, that's great. Let's try a different model and try loading a few more documents in. Yeah, I mean, this is proof. I mean, we're excited. Our database literally only has one video in it. Once we start loading it up with more, then then we'll really know for sure. But that's exciting. That's progress. For YouTube, I use an extension called Enhancer for YouTube. Actually, that would be a perfect question for this thing that we're building because I talk about it all the time. Yeah. See, honestly, this once this thing is built out, this could automatically answer Twitch chat questions like that too. CJ uses Enhancer for YouTube, and he talks about it in this video here. But this is the this is the extension that I use. They have a bunch of different themes built in. Yeah. It's happening. Okay. Wait, that's actually so funny because this was back when I wasn't using TypeScript all the time. I don't prefer Angular. No, I've built some things with Angular, but Angular is very involved. There's a lot. you got to use TypeScript. They structure things in a very specific way. All that good stuff. Yeah. People always think that this was back before I switched to using TypeScript for everything. That's funny. Okay, where are we at? Let's go get a different model. The 3.3, is that the one? 8 billion by 4? I don't know if I have enough RAM. Oh, that'll work. Llama 3.3 is over here. Phi 4 is over here. Oh, 3.3 70 billion. Pi 4 has a 16,000 character context? Or 16,000 tokens? I might be running out of disk space. Let me check my hard drive really quick. $36 gigs. I should be all right. All right, we're going to use Phi 4. If you get into Hugging Face, try the all MPNet base v2 model. Okay. Okay. Oh, does it just pull? Yeah, it's 14B by default. Okay, yeah. Cool. Let's load up some more some more context. Yeah, that's probably what we should do before we start querying it again. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, and thanks again to CM Griffin for the raid. Have a good evening. Yeah. We're making progress. I think this is what we'll do before we end the stream. We will load some more vector embeddings. I guess let's just load I don't know, like 30 videos in. And then we'll use this 5.4 to query it. How do I keep updated? Where do you read stuff? How are you able to answer stuff on new things like web? Like you said, use Hono instead of Express. Reddit, Twitter, and it's my job. It's my job to be up to date. So yeah, but mainly just seeing the latest stuff posted on Reddit or Twitter or Blue Sky. Yeah. Okay. Here's what we do. We need to read in the first 20 folders, except for this one, from the data directory. Let's see. Oh, we have the data path. I think we can do Deno.readdir. Of the data path. What does that give us? An async iterable of directory entry. Okay, so I think we could do, oh, what just happened? Where did it go? There. Is it for await of? And then we're going to keep track of how many we have loaded in. And we add the documents. And if count is equal to 20, we break out of this. So we're just going to read in the first 20. And we're going to skip that one because we've already done it. So if dir name is equal to this, continue. What's up, IamRuse? Yeah, I'll link it right now. Let's conclude the ID. And let's create the embeddings. I don't want to log out this. That's too much logging. I want to, Mr. Reboot. What I mentioned earlier was I will potentially try to stream like early in the morning before work, maybe once a week. But I don't know. But hopefully, hopefully. And I think I'm gonna wipe my database and just read in the first 20 directories. Count is 0. Create the embeddings. Cool. And then let's remove the database. And then set up the database. And then create the embeddings. All right, see you later, Music Makes It. This stream has been wonderful. Glad to see you doing your thing. Thank you, Music Makes It. I appreciate you. We'll see how long this takes, though. Earlier the or is it /by? The embeddings had to kind of like spin up, but once it was hot, once the embedding model was there, it worked pretty quickly. How much JavaScript do you think a beginner should know before diving into frameworks? If you mean like React, like front-end frameworks? And see you later, Linmore. Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, if you mean like front-end frameworks, then I think you need to know, you need to be really comfortable with working with functions. You should be comfortable with more modern features like destructuring, working with modules, like being able to split up your code into separate files and then being able to import and export from those separate files. You should be really comfortable with objects. Yeah. And you should be able to create just like basic websites that pull data from an API. I mean, you don't necessarily need to do that, but typically that's a lot of what you're doing when you're working with front-end frameworks. If you can build a web page that calls an API, adds data to the page that you got back from that API, and then has some kind of user interaction, if you can do all of that with like vanilla JS, HTML, and CSS, you're probably ready for frameworks. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. This does take quite a while for each one. But let's see if we can like already prompt the documents that we have in memory. Like, let's see. The question we're going to ask is, what web browser does CJ use? And in this case, we're using the larger model. Is it 16,000 tokens that 5.4 has? 16,000 tokens. Does LangChain have a token counter? Let's try not truncating the message and just pass it all into 5.4. Because now we're going to be using this 5.4 model, which has a 16,000 token context window. Right, and the question we're asking it is, what web browser does CJ use? Asking. Also, the idea behind all of this is eventually, once we work out all the kinks, we're just going to update the code to talk to cloud-based services, right? So we might use OpenAI, we might use Gemini, and I believe they're a lot faster for creating embeddings and getting back responses. I'm just doing this all locally to kind of test it, make sure it actually works, make sure it actually does the thing that I want it to do. Adding 0 documents. Why does 0ZM, why does that one have no documents? The captions are empty. Oh, some streams don't have any captions. This is likely one of them. Does this have captions? This does have captions. That one, I guess, just failed whenever we were downloading captions. Okay. Whoa, you got it right. CJ uses Firefox, enhanced with extensions to make it behave like Brave. He mentions this in the video dated July 30th, 2022. That's awesome. That's amazing, honestly. Wow. Yeah, we're going to update the prompt to tell it to respond with the video URL. Yeah. Let's include the URL here. So youtube.com watch. Am I muted? No. Shouldn't be. Cool. Link. Provide a link to the video and include the seconds in the URL with and t equals. Let's see if that does it. Welcome, I am Speedy Alex. Does it mean I can configure, for CJ configures his Express project with TypeScript and this tool will give me the link with timecode? Yeah, that's the idea. It's like, in what video does CJ show us how to add TypeScript to an Express app? It should be able to give us the answer. Could you do a structured output so you get the video title, timestamp, and the answer? Oh, okay, let's see. CJ uses Firefox, enhanced with extensions to make it behave like Brave. He mentions this in the video at timestamp 65.12. Link to the specific part of the video. All right, moment of truth. This is, if this works, I'm done streaming for today. And I'm just going to let this run in the background and create the vector embeddings for everything. And next time we'll work on the prompt and deploying and everything else. What's up, Kinslayer? Who is this strange streamer? All right. Moment of truth. If this is so amazing to me. Like, yeah, okay, let's see. This video isn't available anymore. Literally somebody at the beginning of stream talked about how, like, what if a video is unlisted? Did I do the and v equals. Did I make that video private? Let's see. Or did it hallucinate the URL? Is it LC XX09QE? Yeah. Wait, what is it? Capital L, capital C. Working on GeoCities inspired web components. Why did I unlist this video? Did something happen? let me go look at. I'm gonna look at my dashboard for this video and see why. Figure out why I unlisted it. That's it. Is it a different video ID? Oh, you're right. Did it, I think it hallucinated the video ID. It hallucinated the video ID. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, because this is not in the context at all. Cool. Let's tell it not to hallucinate. Let's just adjust our prompt. You're an assistant that helps users find specific videos and sections of videos from Coding Garden YouTube channel hosted by CJ. Use the following pieces of retrieved context from videos to answer the question. If you don't know the answer, just say that you don't know. Use 3-sentence maximum and keep the answer concise. Provide a link to the video. Provide the video URL where the answer was found and include the seconds in the URL. Hopefully that helps. Do YouTube URLs have www in them? They do. All right, let's try one more time. No need for the www. I guess you're right. That would actually reduce our context size. Use the following pieces of retrieved transcript from videos. Instead of context, let's call this transcripts. It added S after the time. You're right. For example, let's see how the timestamp shows up. For example, a URL with timestamp looks like From the RAG response, if the video ID is included in the metadata, then just grab it directly. Not a good idea to get the LLM to provide data you can get more reliably, especially IDs. Well, the issue is the RAG response could include multiple video IDs. So for instance, this is determining our next project, working on GeoCities web components, working on GeoCities web components, working on GeoCities web components. But this one, why does it talk about Firefox there? Yeah, I don't know why this one was included in the retrieval. Oh, probably because the word CJ. So because the word CJ is in the text, this part of a video was retrieved. Yeah, let's see if this prompt helps, but hallucination of video URLs is going to be an issue if it keeps doing that. Oh, I stopped truncating. I removed the truncation now because we're using a model that has a bigger context window. So our prompt has all of the transcripts in it. And similarity search returns 4 videos by default. They did not include the URL. That made it worse. Provide the video URL where the answer was found and include the seconds in the URL. I'm going to get rid of the for example. Return only 1 in the RAG response. The issue, I guess the thing is sometimes there might be multiple videos. Find videos and sections of videos from Coding Garden, from the Coding Garden YouTube channel. You're an assistant that helps users and answers questions by using transcripts from videos of the Coding Garden YouTube channel hosted by CJ. Use the following pieces of transcripts from videos to answer the user's question. Answer the question. I'll just say your answer should include links to the source videos where the answer was found. Okay. Again. Oh, like, yeah, structured schema could be much better because the structured output, we could specify that we want it to give us a list of a URL or a list of URLs with timestamps. That could be good. If this doesn't work, we'll try that. I think that would make sense. Here we go. CJ uses Firefox, enhanced with extensions to make it behave like Brave. This information is found in the transcript at timestamp 6512. Here we go. Did it hallucinate another URL? I look so funny. I didn't have any facial hair. All right, but let's see. Is this it? Brave? No, I use Firefox with all the extensions that make it behave like Brave, but it's by the Mozilla Foundation. It's not some other company. Fascinating. Perfect. So the added S is no problem. Yeah, it appears that the S can be on there. Oh, thank you, Mr. Reboot. All right, what else can we add? I guess I don't know what videos are in the database because first of all, it errored out because this file was not found. This is the thing. Our database only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It only has 13 videos. What's up, Vulture Bike? Yeah. I mean, this channel still exists. I just don't go live as often. What's something I talk about all the time? Let's actually see if it can answer the question about why is CJ's YouTube green? Oh, what my most common greeting? Oh yeah, like how does CJ start every stream? I don't think that prompt would work because it doesn't have the context to pull the start of a list of captions. Actually, let's look at the context that it pulled. My chair is green. I use a blue screen. Okay. I mean, this is cool, but it doesn't have enough context to ask the right thing, but I guess it's close. So why is CJ's YouTube green? CJ uses a blue screen instead of the traditional green screen for his YouTube setup. As mentioned in the video titled, this choice is highlighted when he discusses how new viewers might be curious why his chair appears green. He clarifies that he actually uses a blue screen and offers to show what it looks like. This information can be found at timestamp that, where CJ states, but you might be wondering, how is your chair green? I use a blue screen. All right, if it gets this right, I'm done streaming for today, and this was great. This is a huge success. Here we go. That's not right. There's no way that's right. How is your chair green? It's right. I use a blue screen. I'll show you what that looks like. Well, actually, so I use a 4K camera, and then I crop down the area that is just the blue screen, but you can see it here. You can see all my trash and stuff over there. Wow, that's great. Yeah, I don't know. It probably doesn't have the context because I think the videos it's loading in are like several years old. It doesn't have newer videos, but let's see. Also, it would be good to see what it does when it can't find the answer. What is CJ's dog's name? Oh, it's in there. Well, named Panzer, and the favorite number is 42. Yeah, so I don't talk about the fact that my dog's name is Panzer, but I do mention Panzer because I used it as an example of variable name. Whoa, CJ's dog name is Panzered as mentioned in the video title intro to TypeScript. Contextual information. The video discusses creating a new person object with properties including the dog's name, which is specified as Panzer. My goodness. The timestamp is wrong though. Oh, it's, yeah, we have to work on the prompt because it's not including, yeah, it's just listing the timestamp, but it needs to append it to the URL. And T equals this. Person takes in the name CJ, the dog name Panzer, and the favorite number 42. This is amazing. Yeah, well, structured outputs are the way to go. Let's add a to do. Yeah, this actually is crazy. Wow. Okay. To do. Well, no, we'll put it on the prompt here. To do. Structured output. So the linked URL is in the correct format. Wow. Yeah, has CJ just beat YouTube at much better YouTube video search in a very expensive way? The thing is, yeah, the scary part is using this for OSINT applications. Yeah, so, okay, imagine somebody else did this, and I talk about personal stuff, and then they use it to query to figure out things about my life. like where do I live? And where do I, that's definitely a possibility. But I guess the way that this could be made cheap is we load up a SQLite database. Actually, I'm curious, how big is this SQLite database with 12 videos worth of vector embeddings? It's huge. Okay, that's crazy. I did not think it would be that big. So just for 12 videos, the database is almost 400 megabytes. Because my thought was, if I could create all the vector embeddings locally, then I just have this standalone SQLite file that I can use on a server somewhere, and so I'm not paying to create the embeddings or host the embeddings. And then we could use something like Gemini or OpenAI. But that's massive. That's going to be like gigabytes just for like, no, probably like multi gigabytes if we're storing every single video I've ever done. Put it all on a Mac Mini. Yeah, I probably would put it on a VPS. But like a VPS, like if I wanted to run a server that also had Ollama on it to keep it super cheap, I would probably need a beefy server. It'd be a lot cheaper to use AI in the cloud. I think I have like at least 600 videos. 540 videos. Okay. 15 gigabytes. Yeah. Last test, it may or may not succeed, but I want to ask it something that it doesn't know the answer to. On what day of the week does CJ ride his bike? I don't ride a bike, so it should just say that. Yeah, the transcripts just have a lot of extra stuff too. I'm guessing it's gonna hallucinate. I think it's just gonna come up with an answer. We told it not to, right? In our prompt, we said, If you don't know the answer, just say you don't know. Use 3-sentence maximum and keep the answer concise. The transcripts provided do not contain any specific information about CJ riding his bike on a particular day of the week. The content mainly discusses various projects, community interactions, and acknowledgements. Yeah, so we'll have to clean up the prompt so that it doesn't talk about this. It should just say, I don't know. But this was awesome. I am actually very surprised that I was able to get this working in a single stream. I think what I'm going to do offline is load the database with all of the vector embeddings, and then next time it's really just going to be prompt engineering. It's really going to be a matter of getting the prompt right, doing structured output. So what's nice is we can make it literally output JSON to keep it aligned in terms of what it's outputting. Yeah. The transcripts of the videos just come from the YouTube API. So YouTube has captions for the videos. So those were auto-generated. The next step here would be to use something like Whisper and generate these captions ourselves. That would take a lot of processing, but we could like download the MP4, run it through Whisper, which is an AI model for transcribing video. But my thought is it might actually be better than the models that YouTube was using like 4 years ago, because there's a lot of typos in here, and so that could make it better, but yeah. And exactly, Mr. Reboot, we'll play around with other models, but yeah, next time, all of the video transcripts I have will be loaded as vectors, and we're gonna play around with the prompts, structured output. It's gonna be great. Oh no, Mark Boots. Thanks for sticking around, but I'm sad you didn't get some sleep. Yeah. All right, but thanks everybody for hanging out. This was great, especially for being an unannounced stream. I'd like to stream more often. We'll see if it happens. I'm not going to make any promises, but I do want to go live more. So here's hoping. But thanks everybody for hanging out. Stick around. We're going to do a raid. I don't know who's live at this time, but we'll find somebody to raid. So stick around for that. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Have a good one. What do I normally say? Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.
Okay. Coding Garden. Welcome in. All right. I got you. I got you. I got you. You think I don't have you? I don't have you? Got you. All right.